Sometimes during the winter months here on Vancouver Island, it's just about enjoying the beautiful blue skies. Other times you're going for walks with friends in a crispy, cold, snowy trails. But if I'm honest, it's usually a little bit darker and a little bit more dreary. The storms are here, complete with all the rain and all the wind that we can handle. Now, remember, back when we started this journey of exploring together, I told you that things on Vancouver Island are just a little bit different in the winter than the rest of Canada. Well, that is still true. When it starts storming, we find ways to enjoy that as well here on this island winter wonderland in the Pacific Ocean. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that.
My name is Dan King, and I live on an island in the Pacific Ocean off the west coast of Canada. Over the last few years, I've been showing off this incredible place that I call home to people from all over the world. Last season, it was all about my favorite summer destinations. But this time around, I'm inviting you to join me in exploring the beauty of the winter months here. And I want to introduce you to some of the interesting people that I've met along the way. Welcome to Vancouver Island Explored, Winter Wonderland.
Well, today I want to tell you about one of the craziest weather events I've ever seen in my life. And it happened here in the town of Qualicum Beach last year. Now, normally this is known as a retirement community. Some great people, some great golf courses. The oldest demographic in all of Canada is right here, with more people who have celebrated over 100 birthdays than anywhere else in the entire country, if I'm not mistaken. 4 kilometers of beautiful sandy beaches. It all makes this community absolutely beautiful. But in the winter months, if you combine the wild weather storms with an exceptionally high tide, known as a king tide, no relation to me, well, you get a pretty spectacular situation that people come from all over to witness. And here's what it looked like last year. Said it was about 20 years ago?
About 20 years ago, and the water actually came up and flooded the road, Highway 19A, and there were logs all along this whole stretch here. I actually looked through my photos yesterday to see if I could find them, but I didn't. Anyways, so it's not unheard of. We have some storms, every 3 or 4 years. The king tides and the winds match up, and we get a lot of debris and excitement. But the last time it was like this, in my memory, was about 20 years ago.
Now, usually, storm watching is not as aggressive as the king tides in Qualicum Beach, but here on Vancouver Island, we still find joy in watching the waves crashing against the rocks and the shoreline, often but not always accompanied by pouring rain. At places here like the Oak Leaf Park, or up by Nanaimo at Piper's Lagoon, or if you go to Comox by Goose Spit, all these places are great places just to watch the fury of nature colliding with the land. But if you really want to see the waves crashing and enjoy storm watching for all it's intended to be, you really have to travel to the west coast of the island, to the town of Ucluelet and that area there to see it. I remember going with my children one year and staying at a hotel. Yes, you do that, it's a thing. And we got the yellow rain jackets and the yellow rain hats on, and we went out to walk along the beach in the rain, and we got hailed on that day and the winds were howling. So much fun. That's definitely the place that you need to go to see this. So we're gonna head there now. The Wild Pacific Trail runs along the coastal shoreline with loads of very accessible cliffs and lookouts to watch the waves crash and smash the rocks. Well, today the rain's held back for most of my hike, but the views were spectacular. The lighthouse is actually still active, although automated now. It's closed to the public, but the grounds around it are still open as part of the Lighthouse Loop section of the trail. It's one of the 12 lighthouses that are part of the British Columbia Shore Station Oceanographic program. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little glimpse of storm watching both on the west coast here and the east coast of the island. We're gonna head back to the east coast now, back to my own community, where I wanna introduce you to a new friend of mine. Somebody who doesn't hide away or watch from inside the car or all bundled up during a storm, but he goes in and embraces that storm in an activity that you're probably familiar with, and I'm just learning more about.
Yeah, my name is Marcus, and I've been involved in the windsurfing and wave sailing for the last almost 40 years. I first took it up because I bought a kit from my girlfriend back in the days when I lived in Vancouver. And she really wanted to take up the sport, so I thought, well, I'll help her along. And of course, I went and bought the kit that was more designed for me than for her, and she ended up not having such a good time. So that's a typical thing for a windsurfer to do, is you buy gear that fits you and not somebody else, and the next thing you know, you're in the glue with it. Well, there are a lot of places to sail on the island. There are experiences to be had all over the place, whether it's the west coast or the east coast or on the southern tip of the island. There are variations to the sport of windsurfing. There are kiteboarders, there are foilers out there. There are wingers out there now. These are all variations of the sport of windsurfing, and they're equally exciting, and they have a tremendous draw, and there's an incredible addiction to this sport. Wind sport is probably one of the most addictive sports activities I can think of. You know, we have the hardcore kayakers and mountain bikers and skiers and snowboarders, but there's a different thing going on when we're talking about wind. And for some reason, people do their darndest to get out there on the water. It's an underrated sport. People are in a tight-knit community when they do get together, and they help each other out. Everybody's coaching everybody else, and we look out for one another. It's a bit of a solitary sport. I want to make no misstatements about it. When you're out there, you're on your own. One day the wind took my kit away from me and started blowing it out to sea. And when I tried to swim into the beach, I couldn't, because the current was taking me in a different direction. And luckily I was able to retrieve my kit and sail to shore, but I don't know what would have happened if I'd had to swim out there for a couple hours in the cold water. The thing that makes it unique about sailing on the ocean instead of on lakes and on the, being on this island is that on lakes you get, on the odd day, some wind swell. You might have a thermal push that, you know, actually creates a few whitecaps, but the ocean, it really delivers the waves. It really delivers a bigger chop, standing chop, and that's a bit of a challenge on its own. And you're not sailing in a straight line on some glassy mill pond where there's a breeze. There's actually, you know, you get thrown around a bit. You have to modify your sailing behavior, and it's therefore much more challenging. Just getting out of the water when you have fallen is a bit more challenging, because the waves will do what they want with your kit, and you have to be able to position it to that you can get back out of the water, and it's quite a bit of a different ball game. Lots of thrills, lots of spray in the face, cold and on a hot day. You know, there are whales out there. There are fish jumping. There are seals that are surfing with you. Those are sort of very cool moments that bring you closer to Earth, that really you can feed on in terms of if you're a person who's connected to nature. And yeah, that's what makes it really thrilling. There's always a new challenge. There's always a bigger wave. There's always a fun move that you're trying to learn, or just trying to get the routine ones dialed. So challenge is there, and you're out there working it. You're out there using your muscles, your appropriate perception. It's a sport for just about anyone who's got a little bit of balance and is not afraid of water. The cool thing about the island is we can do this 12 months of the year. We're very fortunate in the sense that we have that mild climate, and even when it does get to, you know, 3 or 4 degrees, a thicker suit and a good pair of gloves and some booties at work, and you're out there.
Well, it was incredible to sit down with Marcus and hear about he and his community, and how when the storms of the winter hit Vancouver Island, they don't hide behind a glass pane to watch from afar, but they grab a board, head into the water and the waves, brave the wind and the pounding rain, and just enjoy everything that nature has to throw at them. And so whether it's behind a glass pane, whether it's on the water, West Coast, East Coast, I hope you're getting a sense that we on Vancouver Island love our winters and our weather, and we've found ways to enjoy it regardless of what is coming at us. Well, thanks so much for joining me on this episode. I can't wait to see you next time.